So we should just note, though, that we currently do not have quorum.
Right.
Okay, so we are streaming now.
We're
We are
streaming?
live. Yep.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order. The City of Albany Commission on Human Rights, September 16th, 2020. And of course, we're meeting virtually. We presently do not have a quorum. We will do roll call. Of course, this is Dr. Brenda Robinson, Chair.
Judith Mazza.
Valerie Alexander Mosley.
Angelica Kang, Chief Diversity Officer.
Laura Golfo from Corporation Council, City of Albany.
Thank you very much. So we're going to start our agenda, though we do not have quorum. We won't be voting on anything, but we do want to move forward with this meeting, and we'll make an additional meeting as needed. I'm going to move quickly so we can get to the reporting that we want to take a look at. So our minutes, we are going to table those because we do not have those to review. Our CHR vacancies, we continue to have 2 vacancies, which are mayor, and we have Miss Natisha Alexander, who was reappointed for a full term going forward. Moving forward, our chair report and hot topics. Certainly, we do want to mention COVID-19. So far, of course, New York State is doing pretty good. We are back down under the 1% mark for as our infection rate. We've had several reports in regards to folks not adhering to wearing a mask and not social distancing. Had a few outbreaks here and there, but I think overall we're doing pretty good here in Albany, and that is a blessing. And we do know that we have the flu season coming up to tackle with as well. So we have to stay vigilant with precautions and follow the right guidance and use common sense. On B, our Census 2020. We've been doing a great push with the census here in Arbor Hill. We just had another event on Sunday, really pushing the census. Jasmine Higgins with Census 2020 and City of Albany has been doing a great job with the events and trying to get folks to complete the census. I do believe our numbers are going up, and that ends the end of this month, which is kind of too bad. Wish we had a little bit more time, but it's winding up, and hopefully we'll have a good outcome. The CHR reporting to the HRC. I did report to the Common Council Human Resource Committee. They were also requesting a report, and I did present the 2016-2017 report to the HRC. It was a pretty good meeting, some good Q&A, and we'll just move forward with that. I did have more conversation with the chair of the HRC, and we'll continue to communicate and have more dialogue going forward. Another thing on our agenda is the Police Reform Collaborative. I do sit on that. That is every Tuesday. The first 2 meetings were kind of icebreaker, meet and greet type of thing. Then we had 2 meetings where the chief presented his organizational structure in the 21st century policing. So we'll be going forward with that. And again, we meet every Tuesday. It is live streamed. And we'll see how that goes as well. We have a quick turnaround with that as well. So hopefully we'll get some good outcomes and a good plan that will come out of the police reform. We'll see how that goes. And I think that's all I really have to report on. I just wanted to quickly get to the ED Executive Director's report and the equity report information. So I'll turn it over to Angelica Kane.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda. So looking at the agenda in terms of complaints, we haven't had any filed, so there's nothing to report to you guys about that. jobs updates. I did send the first EEO4 data report to you guys. I think I sent that on Monday, I believe. And that is something that we're going to be sending to you guys every month. We finally have a staff person who can really compile that data for us, and he's gone kind of the extra step in creating these charts so that it's a little bit more digestible. And we do have some thoughts about how we can even expand this report even further than just what you guys are seeing. But for now, we just wanted to get that into your hands. And so we will be adding a component of changes between month to month, because I mean, it's the first report, so it's the baseline. You're seeing where we're at right now. And we do have hopes to kind of incorporate some information on the monthly changes based on hiring. The one thing to just note is that, you know, where hiring is rather low right now because of, I mean, we're actually on a hiring freeze with some exceptions because of the pandemic and the effects that it's had on the budget and everything. So just, you know.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just mentioning that you mentioned the other data, and we also were looking for the other data such as hiring that you mentioned, upward mobility, demographics of leadership, supervisors and managers, that particular breakdown that we typically see, and it's not on this report, so.
Yeah, so that's something that we are, yeah, that's a little bit more complex because everybody's broken down into their civil service positions. So we do, I mean, kind of pulling that data is not as straightforward as like race and ethnicity, but that's something that we're looking at developing into future reports. But for now, we wanted to be able to give kind of you know, the bare bones of what we've been able to create, and we are planning on getting a little bit more detailed and kind of recognizing the intersectionality of things and recognizing that we're looking at things beyond just department-wide kind of metrics. So there's that, and then the last thing here would be the draft of the equity report that was sent. I know that it was a short turnaround and that the question was up in the air as to whether or not we would vote on it tonight, but I think that's a moot point at this point because we don't even have quorum. So I was told to submit this by the deadline, which is September 21st. So what I will do is just make a note submitting it by the 21st, but saying that the commission has not had the opportunity to review and vote on it yet. Or
because us reviewing it and voting on it, I think is a requirement. So, and we do want to have enough time to do that. And as you said, we just received it, I think, on the 15th. So we certainly do want to do our due diligence, and we do need the opportunity and the time to review the information and certainly have eyes on and be able to really digest the information and make recommendations as we see fit. And right now we didn't have that much time, so.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Clear.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, I think the main goal was to ensure that the report was submitted by the September 21st deadline. So we will do that with the note that the commission has not been able to review and vote or make recommendations on it yet, but that we can address that as an appendix to the report next month. I think we will.
Well, I kind of disagree because I think the bigger goal is to make sure that we look at this report with the equity, through an equity lens, and have the input of the commission. So you typing up a report and sending it even without our input, I don't think that is the goal of the equity agenda from the way I understand it.
Yeah.
So the goal is not just for you to put a report and move it forward and just put a little note at the end saying, yeah, I gave it to them a few days before and they didn't get to it, and here's a report and here's a blurb. So I don't think that was the intent of the equity agenda at all.
I understand that. I have been given very clear directions to submit the report by September 21st, which is why I would like to add the note. And then we can submit the commission's review recommendations and any other additional information that you want to include to this report as an appendix in October, if we vote on that at our October meeting.
Angelica, who is who are you submitting the report to? The Common Council?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and then
And you saying
what
the
is,
mayor is telling
what
you?
is their next step with this? They haven't seen it yet either, correct?
We have not seen it.
Okay, so do you know what their next step is?
I do not. I do not. I don't know what the next step.
So I guess, kind of going along with what Brenda's saying, and it's sort of what you're saying, is that if we have an October meeting, they're going to get it next week, right? The Common Council. So
Yes.
they haven't seen it, they haven't read it, they have no comments. So if they know that we will be coming with comments, recommendations, edits, whatever we want to call, whatever we think of,
Mhm.
on this initial report, that they'll have it after our next meeting in October, then our recommendation today, while we can't vote on it, is that they hold off making any recommendations until they hear from us next month.
Right.
Because nobody had the time
Mhm.
to
Yeah, we
get
just
it to a
received it.
point for September 21st. Somebody set this date a year ago,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
And so
with-
a year ago, the world was different, and September 21st is just a date, and that can change. So I guess my recommendation on it would be that, yes, we have to send it, but we need to make recommendations, comments, maybe, or whatever we're going to say about it
Yeah,
before they make a decision to do anything.
Right.
and I do believe that, not speaking for the Common Council, but I do believe that they will feel the same way. And also, speaking of date, when the date was set, it surely was with the intention for the commission to have adequate time to review the information.
Right.
But the world
There was
changed.
an intent that we'd get it a few days before, and
Yeah.
that could-
I-
And they always send everything to committee. So we're basically sending it to committee, our own committee.
Right.
We have it and we will get back to them. So I guess that's kind of how I see the intent of what we're trying to do.
Yes. So
Is that gonna do
Can I ask
anything?
a question? This is Valerie. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
There was a date in there to submit it to the Common Council, was the 21st. Was there a date in there to submit it to the, to Human Rights?
to the,
No,
No.
but we have been requesting reports, but we haven't received them, but there was no date.
right. And that's what was discussed at the last meeting with the committee, is that these numerous reports that are due don't have clear deadlines, so it's not been clear as to when the information would get to the commission to review. So what I think a good kind of what I propose that we do is submit on September 21st with a memo and also a notation in the report saying, in the interest of complying with the legislative deadline, we are submitting this report by the deadline, but noting that the commission has not had time to review and vote or make recommendations on the data presented. So we respectfully request that the Common Council wait until after October, when the commission has been able to substantively review and provide recommendations.
So how about the Human Rights wasn't provided adequate time to review? I mean, if you send something to me and I know that Human Rights was supposed to review it, and you're saying that they have not had time, one of my questions is going to be, why did they not have the time? It could be people been on vacations or whatever, but I think that we just didn't have adequate time to review it.
Sure.
The other thing is, if this is supposed to be coming from the Commission on Human Rights, is it, Angelica?
In partnership with the administrative services, so it's both of us. the
Right.
Department of Administrative Services in partnership with the commission. And
Right.
I completely understand and agree that there was not
Right.
enough time, but there's we're balancing two kind of obligations here, making sure that you guys had enough sufficient time, but also not wanting to submit a report late, which is why I think if we submit
I don't
it,
see a problem with submitting a report late when technically we got the information late. So I don't see what the problem is submitting a report late.
okay, well,
I don't see.
yeah. I do need to, I mean, I have been told to submit it by September 21st by the legislative deadline, which is why I think the only solution that I can think of in terms of trying to kind of cover all the interests here is to submit the report with the caveat that I have mentioned that, you know, there was an adequate time, the report was submitted to you guys without adequate time for your review. And so we respectfully request another month for that, and that the Common Council hold off on making any decisions based on the report until the commission has submitted their recommendation.
I also think that one of the things that we need to submit from our end is that no one in the process had a deadline except submitting the report to the Common Council. That was the only deadline in this whole thing. So if you have departments that don't get you the information, there was no, and because we talked about this earlier, you know,
Several times.
that there were no deadlines anywhere. So that should be one of the things that we should address in this
Immediately.
as part of the addendum.
Mhm.
And secondly, they can't make recommendations until we look at it, because the legislation itself says that it has to go through us first.
Right.
So without the deadlines, nobody could get this report together.
Mhm.
And there was only one deadline,
Yes.
and nobody else had one. So, and then COVID happened, life changed, the world changed, and we're all here. So I think being realistic, moving this forward, one of the things we have to get is deadlines on when this stuff is reported, because you need at least 2 or 3 months to put this report together. This report doesn't happen in a week.
Right, and we discussed that at the HRC meeting with the Common Council as well, as far as the deadlines, and they are clearly aware
Right.
of that. So
Okay.
right
Well,
now,
we need to give them an idea about those deadlines.
right, and right now, so the report you have is just administrative report, really. So it's not a partnership report. You just have an administrative report that basically she's given to Common Council.
Yeah. So I will draft this memo for your review with it by the end of the week. I will draft it and send it to you just to make sure that you're comfortable with the wording, but it will just, you know, it will cover the basis of that, you know, we're trying to comply with the legislative deadline, but every other component of it isn't really fulfilled here because you haven't had time to review it. On top of that, we don't have quorum right now, so we can't vote on it. So even if, you know,
You wouldn't have been voting on it tonight anyway.
okay, but even if we were, we wouldn't have been able to.
We couldn't do it anyway. So that's,
Right.
So there are a number of circumstances as to why it cannot be voted on tonight, but in the interest of submitting it by the September 21st deadline, which is the only deadline that exists, we are submitting it.
okay.
Okay,
So we'll be waiting for that, the email from you.
yes. So that will be done, what is today, Wednesday? So by the end of the week.
And by the way, I do understand your position, Angelica. Don't think we don't. Don't think we don't understand your position.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just think reiterating back to the Common Council that
Yes,
they technically, according to the legislation, can't do anything with it until they hear from us anyway.
Right.
and they
That's
are
the
aware of that.
They need to abide by that.
Mhm.
They are aware of that.
And I know you'll say it in a much more politically correct way than I would, but that's the reality, that nobody had a deadline. Here we are with all kinds of things, and yeah, we want to move this stuff forward and keep it moving forward because next year we're going to be in the same situation. But we should have information coming in like.
And the chair of
you get the
HRC,
information
Councilman
should come in
Robinson.
on an ongoing
Yeah.
basis, not just one time.
Council- Right, and Councilman Robinson and other council members were in agreement for the deadlines. And I also requested another review of this equity agenda because there's other things that need to be revised and kind of left open to interpretation that needs to be clarified. So they were in very much agreement with that. Angelica spoke to the deadlines as well. So hopefully we'll move forward on that. And again, Angelica, I do understand your position as well in regards to this. So we both, all of us have our positions.
Yeah. Yep. And so I guess the only request that I really have is that between now and our next meeting in October, which I guess is the 21st, third Wednesday of October, that for folks who are on the call right now and those who are not, that we go into that meeting prepared with the remarks that we want to make.
Okay. So we're going to move
Because I got all my stuff.
to Wednesdays officially.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
We're moving to Wednesdays, right?
We're meeting Wednesday today because of the police reform collaborative is every Tuesday. So I
Right.
think,
That'll
Yeah.
still be going on in October.
I think we might be having a follow-up in October. So October would probably be a Wednesday meeting as well.
But November might be Tuesday or Wednesday at this point. It's undecided for November, but October 21st is our next meeting.
Right.
Okay.
And the rest we're across the road when we get to it.
And will it still be at 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, good. 6 is actually better.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
So I
October,
guess,
good.
right. So our plan is that we're gonna make sure that everyone really starts digging into this data and reviewing it so we can get this forward. Angelica will be sending that forward to the council to meet her deadline and send us, well, prior to that, send us an email with whatever blurb or memo that she's gonna send out. along
Your
with that.
memo doesn't need a vote, does it, Angelica? From
Laura?
us? Just say, right back to you and say, fine.
I'm gonna let Laura answer this question. I don't think we can even vote now on an email.
No, but you're gonna send us your memo before you give it to the common council.
Correct.
I think she can send us that via email and we agree or disagree. I mean,
Yeah, we don't need to vote
probably
on it.
agree and it'll be fine. Yeah.
Let me just, Angelica, will the memo come from you? Like, will it say like signed by Angelica or will it come from the commission?
We can submit it on behalf of the Department of Administrative Services. Like I'm not.
Because it's on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Then I think an email,
Yeah.
just quick,
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
I think so. I'll send it, and I will wait to hear from everybody as in terms of any glaring issues.
Yeah, okay.
But
That's
the
good.
goal though is
And I will also be speaking to the chairs, but we've had discussion about this earlier anyway. So
yeah.
the chair of the HRC. So
The goal will just be to have kind of everybody sign off on this memo, or really just your opportunity to say no, thank you, please use this memo because there's an issue with it. Will needs to be done by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 20th, so that I can submit it on the 21st.
Okay. I'm gonna send you my answer at 11:58.
I will be waiting with bated breath.
So you opened yourself up for that one.
Right. So being that we have a stack of information to review, I think we use the rest of our time to get to, we can spend the rest of our time to get to that information. Val, did you say something? Oh, I thought Val had said.
I'm sorry. No, I thought my thing was off. I was talking to my mother. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, so if there's nothing more, being that we do have homework to do, any more questions? If not, we're gonna adjourn. Anything else? All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All righty. We're adjourned. Thank you very much,
Okay,
everyone.
bye, everyone.
Nice to
Bye-bye.
meet everyone.
Brenda, you're gonna
Yeah.
send the people that weren't here to the